Guys, welcome to the video. I'm doing a showcase on my Mastemon deck. It's the build that I have. You guys can do it however you want, but at least I'll showcase it. I start off with the babies. I run one Cupidmon. A lot of people are running 3 or 4 of these just because they want to rush in the beginning and draw as much as they can, but this deck doesn't heal that much. It does have occasions where it heals constantly, but it's not as efficient to do to make it to 5 or more damage. So you kind of just want to keep the one. And then for Upamon is a pretty good card, especially for this deck that self damages itself and makes it to 3 security pretty easily. You'll have a bunch of occasions where he's gonna be really useful. Anyway, I'll start off with the Tamers now. I run one Kari. You could run 2 if you wanted to. Other builds like Shine Greymon kind of run a little bit more Karis, but or other colored Tamers. But usually I feel like 2 of them is pretty cloggy, at least in the games that I've had, so I just kind of use her as one. But she's pretty good. But this is kind of like the main tamer you're gonna use, and you're probably gonna know that TK is just the best card, the best tamer in this deck. Just lets you look at your security, set it up, grab a card from security, heal 1. So yeah, it's pretty much going to be your main tamer to play. Have 3 memory at the start of your turn if you have less than 3 memory. So yeah, he's gonna be either a 3 or a 4 off in the deck. I use 3 for now, but you can use as many as you want. Next up, I'll showcase the option cards. So the option cards, I'll start with a one-off of Lightning Paw. This card got in errata recently, but I still kind of use it for Rookie Rush because it's pretty good if you have it in security and it shows off in security while your opponent is Rookie Rushing you. It's amazing because then you blow up at least 3 of the rookies. If you have it in your hand, it's more situational, but at least you can kind of, depending on the situation, you can use it as well. And since it's a low cost, it's really good. Next up, we run 3 Eden's Javelin. Eden's Javelin is a really good card. It costs 6, but at least you draw a card and you blow up something that has as many DP as you have cards in hand. So it's really good, especially as it does the same in security. So you just kind of just plus it without having to pay the cost. I run 3 because this deck does generate security, but it doesn't do it like decks like Seraphimon where you're just constantly healing and healing and healing. So a 3 off is fine for now. Next up is 3/7 Heavens. Same idea, basically, just kind of get rid of things on the board. And I do run 3 off. You can run both of these as Eden's Javelin and 7 Heavens. You can run them at 4. But again, this deck doesn't really continuously heal, so you're gonna have to be more careful on how much things you pay for. And I've had games where basically I just start off and have like 3 Eden's Javelin in hand if I'm running it at 4, and at least 1 or 2 7 Heavens or backwards. And honestly, you don't really want to see that in hand. You want to continuously play Digimons and have other plays to do. So 3 and 3 are fine, at least for the this build. Next, we're going off to the level 3s. I run 3 Salomon. It's pretty amazing. It's one of the best cards in this deck. It's basically just you play it and then you attack security and it either kills itself and heals you 1 depending on your security, or you can kind of like tribute it with Kimiraman to heal 1 and then blow a level 5 or lower Digimon from the opponent's side. So it's really good. You can play it with Mastemon from the trash as well, and then on the next turn you can attack and have it killed and then heal 1. So a lot of situations where he becomes useful. A lot of people kind of use him as 2 off. I've seen in current decks, but 4 off, I can't live without that card as a 4 off. So next up we have Bloopmon. You can run this at 2, but it's a self damager that gives you a +1. So it's really good in many situations where you kind of need to thin out your security to use things like Upamon. And you can kind of have, say, you played this from the raising area and then you hard played Loopmon, uh, and you had 4 securities, right? So you look at your security, you grab that card, you draw a card, and then you attack with Salomon. You draw a card because of the inherited skill of Upamon, and then if this dies, you heal 1, recovery 1. So yeah, a lot of situations where Loopmon really helps. Again, you can just run it at 2. They kind of work at 2 as well, but I run it at 3 because I really just like it at 3. It's more consistent to me at 3. This is gonna be a little weird one, but I run 3 Tinkermon. I run the Tinkermon Petermon build. But basically, I run them at 3 because I've run them at 4 before, and they're more cloggy than usual. So I try to kind of not. Okay, so my cat just wrecked a bunch of stuff. So anyway, yeah, we run the 3 Tinkermon because I used to run them at 4, but they're kind of cloggy at 4, and you don't want to see that many vanillas when you start off. It's good for Rookie Rush, but not for the goal of this deck, which is basically kind of to hold off as much as you can, as well as dish out as much damage as you can. But even with the 4 ops, I feel that it's pretty overbearing. So you kind of I use them at 3, but you can use them as 4. However you see it. At least it's worked a little bit for me. Then we have 2 Salomon just because it's a cost 2 level 3 vanilla. And then the 1 Patamon. Patamon is very situational. On play, you heal 1 if you only have 1 or less security. I run him at 1 instead of 2 because, again, he's very situational. You don't really see this a lot happening, but if you do happen to draw into him and you really do need to heal 1, then you can just play him or use things like Magna Draymon to kind of attack and then play this and then you heal 1. But again, it's very situational. It depends on how you want to build it, but at least it's worked. 1 for me is fine. I've pulled it up like once, I think, but other times I just kind of have them. And if you don't really want to play this because it doesn't do anything really, then you just use it for the raising area babies and use Digivolve and draw something else. And you'll be less inclined to kind of Digivolve that into a level 4 because sometimes you do have the babies in the raising area and you have this in hand and you want to play this, and then you wouldn't really be that keen in digivolving into a level 4 because you kind of want to use Salomon and its effects, right? So you want to blow this up. So if you had this in hand and you played it, then you wouldn't care because it's on play. So just more for your conscience. So that's it for the grade 3s, or the level 3s, sorry. Have Vanguard in the brain. Anyways, level 4s, I run 2 wizards. They're good because then, 1, because they blow up and you draw. 2, because they have retaliation. And this deck doesn't really have a lot of strong Digimons. So you kind of want to have Digimons that have this kind of skill where you can just attack into Digimons with big bodies and they kill each other. And especially this one because then you draw a card and it's really good. Next up, we have 2 Unimon, just the main blockers. I use them at 2 because technically Mastemon just revives him from the trash, so you don't really want to like see him a bunch. You can run him at 3 if you want, but honestly, based on how the deck I've built it, 2 has been pretty good to me, at least. And then afterwards we run 3 Peters, same thing that I said with Tinkermon. Basically, you just run them at 3 and 3. They're not super cloggy, they're not super overbearing, they're kind of just right for me. Maybe I've just been playing too much Yu-Gi-Oh, but at least 3 off for me is fine. Anyways, level 5s. You're gonna say that there's not a lot of level 4s, but level 5s are usually what you want, because then you can just digivolve into your big boys, especially Mastemon. But anyway, I run one. Sorry if I mispronounce this, but Shakomon.
Shakumon.
Shakumon. Sorry, I'm reading it upside down, man. Anyway, just mostly run this if your opponent has a bunch of things that he's rushing you with, especially like big bodies where he just doesn't really digivolve. He gives you a bunch of memory, and then he just plays a bunch of big bodies on the board, right? So you just play this and you kind of hold him off because he can't digivolve into anything unless he has a level 7 Digimon, which is probably not going to be likely. So you just kind of run that at 1 just to kind of save yourself in case of that situation if it occurs. Then I run 3 Sirenmon just because I kind of need a level 5 on the board and I don't want to pay too much for it, so I just use Serenamon. So it's just a low cost play because everything else kind of is high cost, like Shukaumon is really costly with an 8. Then we have Anjumomon, again high cost, but um, her ability at least lets you kind of stall by giving one of your opponent's Digimon on Digivolution -2 security attack. Plus, if you want to do the Rookie Rush thing, you can use her inherited skill by playing Mastemon right on top. So when you attack with Mastemon, you can automatically play a level 3 from your hand as long as you have 3 or less security. So it's pretty good to kind of use in different situations, like a Magna Draymon effect. Next up, for the last of the level 5s, is Kimiraman. So Kimiraman is a must in the deck, especially if you're combining purple. A lot of situations where Kimiraman is useful is going to show up. Sometimes you're going to have to blow up things that you don't want. But specifically with, say, Salomon, you attack and say that it doesn't die, right? So you have a Kimiraman in the hand, you kill it. You give your opponent memory, right? But you kill this. It goes to the trash. You heal 1 from the top of your deck, recover 1, and then you kill one of your opponent's Digimon. So, yeah, I can't live without this because it's really good in the deck. I started running it at 2, but honestly, I'm using it at 3. Same thing with Angelwoman. I'm running her at 3 because I feel like the cost kind of hurts for each of these cards sometimes. So I try to kind of limit myself with at least Serenamon mostly. But everything else is pretty good. And lastly, for the level 6, I run 1 Pokemon for reasons. You want to stall, you want to live. And also you want that extra memory when you attack depending on the situation. So yeah, he's just a hard play guy that you can just kind of play and stall for for hopefully not a rush that they're gonna give you. Volcanic Draymon, you can technically switch him out for Puppetmon since you're running Lightning Paw, but it's pretty good because it has a +1 in security attack, so you kind of want him. And because he's a pretty big body anyway, they're just bodies. Slash Draymon, slash Angemon, sorry. He's not that great in terms of DP, but he kills something, so that's important. And especially in a deck where you want to play level 5s first and then digivolve into something, these guys don't really work for that because you have to hard play them, but at least slash Angemon works for that, and he just kills something that has 8,000 DP or less. Next up we have Magna Andremon, sorry. Magna Draymon. Magna Draymon. So yeah, heal 2 if you have 3 or less security. and when it attacks, you just hard play level 3 without cost. It's amazing. You can technically pull one of these out and maybe run this at 3. Even you can even run it at 4. But honestly, I feel like 2 is fine. I see him a lot, and honestly, with the TKs, you can kind of see him in security and grab him. So it's really situational how you want to use him, but he's pretty good at 2. And then the main card of the deck, Mastemon. Mastemon is just the best card here. Not just a beautiful artwork, but a beautiful card in effect. When Digivolves, you just trash the top card of your security as well as the opponent's, and then you hard play something from trash that's level 4 or less. So yeah, you can play a bunch of stuff that's level 4 or less, especially combos like Petermon, where you bring out the Tinkermon. You can bring out your blocker Unimon. You can bring out Wizardmon if you wanted to kill something later. Patamon if you were dying. Or Loopmon if you had a bunch of life and you just wanted to downsize your security and draw. And Salomon as well if you wanted to attack later, or even use Kimiraman for it. So yeah, there's a lot of situations where Mastemon is going to be good, especially with a 12,000 DP body. So yeah, she's going to be a very big part, in fact. But yeah, this is basically my build for Mastemon. If you guys like the video, please make sure to hit the bell for any other notifications on other videos that we'll post up. Make sure to subscribe and hit like on the video. It really helps us a lot. And I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.
Blue Buster out.